It's not too well. Karbivio decided to write something. I decided to read it, after being requested to. The spoiler was up here for those of you that didn't notice. Except Karbivio kind of put it up on Steam frequently. Or recently, there we go, recently. After I put up the video. Most of you haven't even read my bio yet. I am disappointed. Karbivio's Lab, Guidelines and Information. The purpose of study. Dr. Karbivio is fascinated by natural or unnatural abnormalities. This is its only non-classified purpose, to study these abnormalities. Lab areas. The laboratory has different areas that are all of different classifications. If this is not your first time reading this, then you are probably not allowed in many of the areas listed. Feel free to contact Dr. Karbivio about any of the rooms listed below, or to fill an empty room. There are a lot of empty rooms here. We'll have a new room constructed. List of areas. Resting quarters, security level 0. Microscopic examination sector, security level 2. Magic testing room, security level 1. Dangerous test subject contamination area. Containment area. Security level 4. Chemical waste termination room, security level 5. Hostile creature containment area, security level 6. Anomaly containment area, security level 3. Euthanization sector, security level 2. Decontamination sector, security level 0. Allowed entrance to security level areas above 0 are based on ranking. Level 0, Visitor. Level 1, Safe Testing Scientist. Level 2, General Testing Scientist. Level 3, Chemical and or Biological Engineer. Level 4, Lead Scientist. Dr. Karbivio, with all due respect, you are not allowed to make typos, and I cannot correct them for you. Level 5, Administration, comprised of Dr. Karbivio and Dr. Karbivio only. Class D, you'll need to ask Dr. Karbivio about this personally. The rooms listed will all have warning signs by the entrances. Warning signs: radioactivity hazard, electric shock, non-standard space-time hazard, biological hazard, self-replicating object, inconsistent topology, autonomous object, sentient object, memetic hazard, existential threat, sentient and violent. Explanation of warning labels. Electric shock, dangerous or potentially lethal. Voltages present in area. Radioactivity hazard, self-explanatory, but radiation hazard. Dangerous levels of high energy, ionizing, or nuclear, or any otherwise unknown types of radiation. Object, entity, or material present in area presents a biological hazard, that it generates microorganisms, toxins, or viruses that may have deleterious effects on the health of ponies and some matter. Yet again, deleterious. Rare occasion where I do not know a word. Yeah. Non-standard space-time. Objects in area presents non-standard space-time properties or effects that do not behave according to a current understanding, general relativity, quantum physics, and other established scientific principles. Areas bearing this label contain objects that are able to self-reproduce at varying rates and at varying means. Certain precautions may need to be taken to keep said object in area. Inconsistent topology. Objects or terrain presents inconsistent or seemingly impossible topologies. Examples include things that are bigger on the inside than on the outside, portals to distant locations, unicorn magic, every unicorn and or alicorn in the universe, etc. Object may move or react to certain stimuli of its own accord. This should not be confused with sentience, sapience, or self-awareness. This hazard may merely suggest that the object is autonomously conscious, that its reactions may be dangerous. Object or entity in area is sentient and or sapient, and is thus self-aware. It is not necessary to include this warning on areas containing equines, as this is to be assumed. Sentient and violent, see below, can be redundant, and using both warning signs on a single area is not encouraged, unless there are mitigating circumstances. Sentient and violent. Object or entity contained in area is sentient and or sapient. This specific designation warns that, in addition to the mental stage of development, that the object is generally hostile to equine life, and may go out of its way to terminate such life when it encounters it. Sentient and violent. Blah blah blah. Existential threat. Areas with this hazard contain an I'm just gonna go with it's just the logical threat or danger to the existence of the equine race and or universe as we may know it. Mimetic hazard. A mimetic hazard is the source of potential mental and physical harm. Psychic. Yeah. It may be directly transmitted from pony to pony. Also may be transmitted through secondary media such as photographs or recordings. Now, if I may just point out, I'm really good with pronunciation, spelling, and grammar, unlike certain Sire Swords ponies. Ecological is a very hard word to pronounce with that particular semi-racist accent that I am using. Object classifications. Objects in Dr. Karbivio's laboratory are all categorized under 5 classes. Safe. Any object classified as safe is usually little more than a curiosity to the research teams, but is still anomalous enough to warrant containment in some form or another. Any object categorized as safe can be interacted with by staff of level 1 clearance or above, regardless of further security clearance. Keep in mind that safe objects are not completely harmless. An knife or a gun would be considered safe even though it is capable of killing equine beings. However, its functions are understood and its reliable safety measures can be to avoid harm. Euclid classification is generally applied to objects whose properties are not currently understood. Unlike safe class objects, there are no reliable containment procedures on Euclid class objects. This may be because the object either does not obey the laws of nature and physics, or because its response to stimuli changes. Objects classified as Euclid may be declined to safe if a greater understanding of the properties is achieved. Getter. Strictest object class. Getter class objects can only be handled by Class D personnel, except in special circumstances. Getter objects are naturally inimical to life and pose great difficulties in keeping them controlled. There we go. Hence the use of Class D personnel in their maintenance. Getter objects fall into 2 categories. Those that are of immense strategic value once controlled, I'm assuming against Celestia, or those that have been deemed impossible to destroy due to the nature of the object. In either case, the object is to be kept until its use has been ascertained and replicated in a more controlled environment, or until a method of ensuring the object's permanent destruction is determined. Getter class objects are always inherently dangerous. Despite the best containment procedures possible, the threat level may range from global Armageddon to killing everything around it. A single hand grenade with the pin removed may be considered a getter. A single mistake will cause casualties. Why would you? It's not indestructible, nor is it of immense strategic value once the pin is pulled. Unless it's in a very useful position, I do not see the point of trying to contain a hand grenade with the pin removed. It's really stupid to just like rush that down to whatever floor you're keeping all the getter class objects on. Neutralized. Any object that has been destroyed or in some way has no odd, extra-dimensional, or adverse effects. Objects classified under this class should have a note saying what class it was while it was a valid object. Decommissioned. Reserved for objects that are not only destroyed but are disavowed by the BESOEO. I started with Apu from The Simpsons and dulled it down a bit. This was Karbivio's Lab with Mod Duel.